Today I'm making a video based on what's inside this happiness box. Let's see what Tsum Tsum it is. It's Goofy! Okay, Goofy it is. Now for this Goofy Tsum Tsum, I'll be using black and blue polymer clay to start with. The front of him is black and the back of him is blue. And what I'll be doing is I'll just roll this into a little oval shape. And then I'll roll this one also into a little oval shape. Now that they've both been shaped into ovals, the next step will be to join them together using two pieces of wire. And these pieces of wire are about 1 inch long. And just stick two pieces of wire in the black part and then slide on your blue part. And once you've done this, join them together so that they both shape an oval together. So now that I've joined the black and the blue together, I'm going to use this piece of cream polymer clay for his snout. And I've kind of shaped it with my finger to look like a snout. I started with a circle and then I just kind of shaped it and pressed with my fingers until it has a snout shape. The next thing I'll do is I'll use a tiny piece of wire just to attach this onto his face so that it doesn't slip off. And I'll just slide it in the front. So now that I've added the cream on the front of his face for a little snout, what I'll do next is take a little piece of black polymer clay, a tiny piece, and I'll just shape it into an oval. And that will just be for his nose. And I'll just press it on the very front. And that will be his little black nose. Like that. Now the next thing I'll be doing will be using this piece of orange polymer clay that I've flattened out so it looks like a piece of bubble gum, and this will be his shirt since he has an orange shirt on. Just drape this over the seam where the black and blue join and then fold it underneath him, and you can always cut off the excess. So here I have a little extra and I'll just take my knife and just cut it off. Cut off the excess. And then just press down the orange like this so that you have a nice seam. So from the side, this is what he looks like. So now that Goofy has his orange shirt on, I'll be using two little pieces of black polymer clay for his ears. And I've rolled each one into a little log, and then all I'll do is I'll flatten it with my rolling pin until it has the shape of his ear. Like this. Then I'll decide where it is that his ears should go, and I'll make a little incision on the side of his head like this so that I can slide the ear in there so that it doesn't fall off when it's baking. Just make a little incision like this, and I'll slide his ear in there. So now I have the incision just the right size. What I'll do is I'll take his little ear that I flattened before and I'll just slide it in there a little bit, fold it over, and then just press on the top. And if his ear's too long, you can always cut off a little bit of it, which is what I'm going to do. Now for his hat, I have these two green pieces of polymer clay. The first I'll shape into an oval and then flatten with my finger like this. And then the second, I'll also flatten into a little bit of an oval, but I won't flatten it as much because this will go on top of the other part. And then I'll place this right on top of the other part like this. And then I'll just use a little toothpick to make the rounded part on top, the little indentation that's on top of his hat. Like this. The last thing it needs is a piece of a black strip around it, and for that I'll be using a piece of black polymer clay. Now this thin strip of black polymer clay I'll just be wrapping around the edge of his hat. Wrapping it all the way around until it has that little look of the hat that he wears. So they'll look like this. And then I'll just attach it with a little piece of wire so it doesn't fall off. The last thing will be his feet, and for his feet I just take 4 pieces of little clay, of black clay, roll them into an oval, and just press each one underneath until you have 4 little legs. Like this. One here, one here, one here, and one here. Now that all 4 legs are on, I'm going to attach his hat, and I have a piece of wire that I just stuck out of the side of his head right in front of his ear, and his hat is on a little bit slanted. And then I'll take his hat like this and just slide it down until it sits on the side of his head like that. Now Goofy is ready to be baked. If you want his ears to stick out a little bit before baking, just lift them up a little bit with a toothpick, and however you bake them, that's how they'll stay. So just lift them up a little bit and curve them like this so they stick out while he bakes. I almost forgot, there's one more thing to do before we bake him, and that is to make the little hair on top of his head. And he has 3 little pieces of hair. For each of those I'll be using a piece of wire, and I'll just stick them right into the top of his head. Stick 3 of them up, and each one will be painted black once he's finished baking. Now he has the 3 little hairs on top of his head. Now he really is ready to be baked. So now that Goofy's finished baking and cooling, I painted his hair black just with black acrylic paint, and what I did for his eyes was I took some white 3D paint and I just made a little M for his eyes, and now I'm just going to fill it in with white paint. So now we're just going to fill that in with a toothpick and some white paint. So now my Goofy is ready to join the other Tsum Tsums. Please subscribe to my channel for more fun Tsum Tsum videos. I'll be posting a new one within the week.